Welcome to the Manistee Local Podcast, and welcome back to our loyal subscribers, and a warm welcome to all of our new listeners. This podcast is brought to you by our amazing sponsors who make it possible to bring us high-quality content each and every week. We want to extend a big thank you to them for their continued support, and if you enjoy this podcast, please show your appreciation by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Your feedback means everything to us and helps us continue to improve. Also, real quick, I want to take another moment to mention how our sponsors contribute to the quality of our production. Their support allows us to invest in better equipment, top-notch guests, and research, which in turn leads to even more engaging and informative episodes. So once again, thank you to our sponsors, and thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay up to date with all of our latest episodes. I appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoy the show. Cheers.
Oh, cheers.
Good to know. Sorry, it's gonna
for
we're all
the
gonna work on
You know,
this.
like in the summertime, if I'm working outside, and sometimes it is refreshing. You're like, okay, yeah. But
The real reason why we brought you here today is so that we can go out on a date.
yeah, that's the
That's
only
the
reason.
work
Do you
expense.
want us?
No, we wanted to be with other people.
Yay!
Yeah. We'll leave now.
We're still boring. Sorry. Maybe
Really?
it's good though, because we're to that point too, where we're like, man, we gotta
go
we
somewhere.
gotta stay with like boring people
I know.
though. 'cause some
Mary's like,
people
is
are-
Finley going to be there? And I go,
Seriously.
no. And she goes, good. I don't want you to hang out with Finley without me.
I think they're gonna be good friends.
Yeah, they're a good. They're a fun pair. They're a good pair.
Yeah.
They get along well.
I feel like Mary kind of brings Finn.
I was
back
gonna
to,
say,
like,
kind of, there's a
here.
balance in
Yeah.
there too.
Yeah.
Feeling's
Yeah.
high energy for sure, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You could
Yep.
say that.
Yeah. That's good. That's good though.
You keep
Yeah.
it pretty active though.
We have to,
Have
or
to.
else she is.
Or else she shoots
Makes
through the
everybody
furniture.
miserable.
Yeah.
How does that work at school?
She does great at school. It's like one of those things where I pick her up, and it's like they say they
Hold it
channel
in.
everything in all day, and as soon as she's in the car, she is just like, run! I don't
Yeah.
know. She has, but she'll
very
say it. She's
emotional.
like, I'm having anger issues. I'm just like, okay, I don't know what to do with this. But
She's
it
very
all
emotional.
comes to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not as bad on him. So it's fine.
Is she around you a little bit more?
Finn?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but
The girls just in general because of your work schedule and
That and gymnastics. So she
Yeah.
takes them because I'm usually in Ludington those days. So she'll take
Yeah.
them down to gymnastics. And
I'm usually the
that's a lot of
receiver of
time.
the energy.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just kind of like unloads sometimes. They say that means they love you.
Yeah.
A lie. You just
That's
at
really
any
what it
moment.
means. I
just
don't want to
Makes
be
me feel
loved.
so the older
Yeah.
one's more with him though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of naturally as she's gotten
Fishing
older.
and-
She's into fishing and basketball. and
Yeah.
soccer, like stuff I want to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Both of your girls are so active. Yeah.
Addie is not naturally active. Like she just wants to veg out, which is so weird because that's not us at all. Like, and like, where did you get this from?
somebody had to take all the energy, you know?
Yeah.
And robbed it
Or
all.
that's
You know.
just.
I think all of our kids are a little different in that way.
That's just, you know, like our daughter's, she's active, but she's not competitive. Like she has no interest in like swimming laps up and down and
Right.
no, she doesn't want to be told what to do. Like she just wants to like be free.
Yep.
When she gets home, she's like, I want to go outside. I want to be like,
What about
Okay.
the older ones?
No,
Are they,
they're,
like-
they're pretty chill.
Yeah.
Pretty chill.
Trent. This episode is brought to you by Chapo's Northside Bar, voted best burger and wings in town. Yeah, you heard that right. If you're going to go out for a burger or wings or both, you might as well go to the place that's voted the best. The best. Why wouldn't you have anything less? Look, and if you're not down for a burger or wings, that's cool. They've got salads, wraps, and sandwiches also. And this summer, it's going to get wild because on June 24th, it kicks off their summer concert series in the parking lot. Live music, folks. And guess what? It's free. Yeah. Come down for the music, stay for the fun, enjoy the best burger and wings in town. Chapo's Northside Bar. This episode is brought to you by Just Clean, Manistee's premier car wash located at 146 Cleveland Street or just north of the US 31 bridge. Look, if you're anything like me, you're not going to spend an hour or two in the hot summer sun in your driveway trying to wash your vehicle. I don't have time for that. So I always take my truck to Just Clean. I choose their ultimate car wash, which includes a triple foam conditioner, a ceramic coating plus wax, and a 60-second heated blow dry. They are the only car wash in town offering the ceramic coating. For my money, I choose Just Clean, and I hope you do too. And Helena both run cross country.
Yep.
Trent ran cross country.
Helena did powerlifting last year. That was
Which
really
was
cool.
a step out of the box.
But that was
Yeah.
so
Cool.
cool
Yeah.
to see, because I had no idea what that was.
You ever been a
and-
part of something like that?
No,
Ever
we
seen
didn't
anything like
have.
that?
Not when
Yeah.
I was in high school.
Holy shit. We, when she said she was going to do it, I was like, okay.
Wow, we were like, what does this even entail? What is
Yeah.
this about?
And then we went to
It was
that-
really cool.
They had a meet here
Yeah.
at MAPS.
Yeah.
And wild. I mean,
How did she get?
how did she get
Her
into
friends
A couple
were
of her
doing
friends
it,
were
yeah.
doing it
Okay.
for the last couple of years, and then she started working out with them at the gym.
Yep.
And they were like, "Hey, you should try this powerlifting stuff." I mean,
That
that's
is
those
so
like
cool.
Yeah.
bench, squat,
Yeah.
deadlift.
Deadlift.
Yeah. pretty awesome.
Yeah.
She goes into it.
That is
She was
cool.
into it.
They have
Saw-
so many
you know
options
Paula
here.
Laws?
Yeah.
Used to work at the
Yeah.
News Advocate.
Yeah, yep, I do.
She got into powerlifting.
I saw that
Yeah.
online.
Which
yeah.
is crazy because she was like scrapbooking and, you know, like you would have never pictured that in a million years, but
She looks great though. She looks happy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, when you
can
get in the
get
gym,
into
you know.
mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Makes a difference.
You know, and the older two work, and that's really good, I think,
Yeah, where do they
for
work
them.
at?
Trent works at the Vogue.
Yep.
Helena works at Dairy Queen.
Yep.
Yep,
Nice.
Trent's going to West Shore, finishing that up, and then he's going to go to Ferris. So he did tell me that this week he's going to apply.
Okay.
So
To
maybe a little
So-
failure to launch
Ferris,
to Ferris. Yeah. So taking it slow.
Yeah.
That's
all right.
okay.
yeah.
Nothing
Yeah.
wrong
Yeah.
with that.
You
You
know,
know, they're always
know. I
they're
feel
also
like-
different than like
they're also
anywhere.
different, and it's so like, you know, I send him these quotes all the time because it's so hard when they're completely not like you and like what you do, and this isn't recorded, but
Sure it is.
but it's so, but
Nobody
you
will
know,
hear
but we
this.
see, but we see, you know, there's all these quotes about, you know, you
They
have to
don't
let your
listen to this.
kids be who they are, not
Yeah.
who you are, not who
Right.
you want them to be, not who you envision yourself to be, but like totally who they are.
That's
And
hard to do though.
It's so hard. It's so hard. You know, with the older two, you know, they always say the teen years can be difficult, but it's also really kind of cool to see them become themselves, like who they are, and you know, that it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think they've been the way that they're going to be since the day they
Yep,
started
I completely
talking.
agree.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
it was
And they just kind of become more of themselves,
Yeah.
and you know, they're kind, they're hardworking, they're all of our kids are. So whatever they want to do, I guess they'll find their way.
Yeah.
just
Keep
trying to
them out
think.
of trouble.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have that foundation. Like,
Yeah. Like, what do you
Yeah.
have in common with them?
Yeah.
Right? Because for the longest time, I didn't think I had anything in common with my older two.
yeah.
But I do have things
you
in
do,
common.
yeah.
You know, just not the things that I thought I would.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah.
I was all like sports. And
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
I never pushed any of it, so now we just find it in other ways, books or Marvel movies. 'Cause I like
Yeah,
that
you
shit.
just got to find that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we were going to talk about Watson Motors.
Yeah.
We want to talk about sleep apnea a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not just sleep
Not just sleep
It's
apnea,
not.
right? I knew I was
Yes,
going to get hit with
sleep.
that.
Yeah.
Everybody
what,
thinks
sleep
that
hygiene?
though.
Yeah.
We do insomnia. I just
Everything.
sleep
Okay.
is just really. It's
Sleep
been a
is
fun
so important.
field.
Yeah.
It's been a fun field. But
You know,
I wanna
and then
hear
in the
about that.
busyness. Yeah, in the busyness.
Yeah.
And like we've been talking about
Yeah,
our kids. but
how
I
do
think
you do
that's- Yeah, for sure.
We're trying to get
we're
tips.
trying.
We were talking about it on the way here, and I said, like, what do you think they want to hear? Because what I'm going to say is it's just a shit show, and we fly by the seat of our pants. And
Week by week, it's like,
literally,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your girls are in a lot,
Yeah,
you know.
they're in a lot.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's
Just
a busy,
awesome.
It's a busy time in life.
It's a busy
Yeah.
season. Yeah.
You guys know how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, so like we talk about this a lot. A lot of our friends and our family members have children that are at this age where like they're super active, whether it's soccer or dance or
Baseball or
you name
yeah.
it. Or swimming in
Gymnastics,
particular.
swimming, yeah.
Swimming is nuts, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
5 days a
It's
week.
in-
That's crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dance is nuts. I've heard about
Yeah.
dance. Yeah.
Too, yes.
Dances,
If you get in
gymnastics.
company, it's a big deal.
Mhm.
We haven't gotten into that. Finn is the only one that we've let get into like something, only because she pushes it so hard. The other things, I'm like, you just need to try it.
Yep.
Just need to try it. Just need to try it. But Finn's like in the gymnastics thing now. We just kind of dabble in like the swim thing we tried, and we'll make it once or twice a week.
Well, what we said is let's let them try a bunch of different things, see what they gravitate towards, and then as they get older, hopefully we can narrow down and they focus on certain activities. So
It's
what we're trying-
busy right now,
yeah.
so we are trying to decide. We've had that conversation a lot about
Yeah.
maybe 1 or 2 activities at a time instead of just
Yeah.
continue. It's hard though.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
Yeah. You don't want to limit them,
right.
but you don't want to drive yourself crazy.
Yeah. What about you guys? Like, how
I mean,
do
I
you
just think
approach that?
well, we don't have to approach it because
Yeah.
we don't. Mary
I mean-
doesn't like Betsy was saying. She's not when she tries to get into something.
Well,
In the
she's-
past, like soccer, she was like, "Yeah, if
She
we're not
kinda
getting a
tried-
snack, I'm not doing this."
Yeah, she kind of tried soccer, and now she's very much like sometimes I kind of like envious. I kind of like wish I could
Yeah.
be more like that because I'm like, oh, what about swim? Like your cousins do swim, your friends do swim. Do you want to do swim? She's like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't.
Confident.
I don't want to go.
Yeah, she's super confident.
It's not that
Yeah.
she's doesn't want to. But she's like, I don't want to go swim up and down and have people tell me what I have to do, and like, no. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, oh, okay. I wish I could be more like,
Right.
yeah, no.
That's
and
good
that's
that
just, she talked about. So with the competitive stuff, she just, like I said, she comes home and she just wants to like be free
Yeah.
and draw and paint and like play outside and run around, and that's like, so we're kind of like, okay,
Yep.
I'm not going to push. At some point, if she wants to do sports, that's great.
Yep.
She was mentioning like for a long time, I want to do piano. I want to do piano. I want to learn to play piano. And you're like, okay, is this real or is this
Right.
just?
Right.
So we signed her up for piano, and it was only like a month before school got out, but
Yeah.
she loves it. And you're like, okay, if I would have told her, hey, you're going to do piano and you're going to, she'd be like, absolutely
Force
not.
her
But-
into it. Mhm.
So anyway, with the older two are kind of like, I mean, they handle themselves and they're into stuff, but like we're not running them. We're not, and with Mary, just kind of, we are kind of in a lull where we have work stuff to juggle and just dinner, and because that's its own thing. Like people need to eat and launder their clothes, and like
more than
it's
cereal?
like yeah,
Right.
peanut butter and jelly, yeah.
Also, we're pretty selfish about our time, though, too. So
Yeah.
which is why this is like kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Even just going out, like we schedule a date night maybe here and there when we
Yeah.
can. But it's like we're very selfish. Like our mornings are lately because of the time change and with staff here
Yeah.
at the store. I'm not getting up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm sleeping until 6.
Right.
Yeah.
But she's getting up earlier and doing all her morning stuff. There's a workout she likes to do, and then go for a walk. And then by the time she gets back, then I hit it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But those are our times.
Yep. Yep.
And like we don't go out a lot, so we're busy all the week, and then like on the weekend it's just kind of like,
Family
family.
time.
yeah, just our
Yep.
yeah.
It's downtime. 'Cause
What
it's
about
so
you guys?
busy otherwise.
Yeah.
Kind of the same, and I feel like there's different seasons. Obviously,
Yeah.
when you guys started this, I'm
Yeah.
sure you were running ragged, and
Yeah.
Mary
you
was
did,
2.
did what you had to do, right? So, and now it sounds like okay, now you can settle down a little bit and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot to that part of it, but I guess same for us. Like the weekends, right now it's starting to slow down a little bit, but throughout the school year it's pretty jam packed
Yeah.
as well. So.
But we do family stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what-
Like, same thing. We don't go out and
Yeah.
date
He can't
nights,
stay in the house. So on a weekend, it's like
but we do activities
by
with
10
the
o'clock,
kids.
he's like, we gotta go for a walk. We
Yeah.
got, but we're with them, but it's like we
Yeah.
force them to go for a walk sometimes.
Take
and
the
then
dog
they have fun.
Yeah.
But we're not good at like just sitting in the house.
I am
we don't do
so
well with
good
that.
at sitting.
We're not good at that.
I am really good at it. Like when I get home at night after dinner, I can't wait to finish the dishes and go right to my chair and lately Mary and I have been watching
Secrets of Ancient Egypt.
Okay.
on
Nice.
the
Yeah.
Discovery Channel. We're just waiting to see if they're going to unearth a mummy. But yeah, it's just quiet.
That's
So-
that's awesome.
So now with bringing on the 2 stores, are you in that like busy season? Or is it,
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a different, because I've been doing basically that job for the last 15 years, essentially.
Let's talk about that, though.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, like, how Watson Motors
Thank you.
today, how it became Watson Motors.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really interested in that.
Yeah.
Sure, for sure.
So, obviously, family business. My dad bought into a Chrysler store in Betsy. At the time, it was Case Motors. When he bought in, they changed it to Case and Watson Motors. And then, so that was 30 years ago. And
I do remember when it was Case and Watson.
20 years ago, he bought the Manistee store, which was Bottrell's Sales and Service at the time. So that's kind of how that evolved, and then it was changed to Watson's Manistee Chrysler. And then, so my parents were divorced. I grew up over by Cadillac, and that's how we met.
Yep.
High school sweethearts, well, middle school sweethearts. So
You guys go
together
way
since,
back.
like,
Yeah.
7th grade.
I was in 6th grade. We went to Liar.
Wow.
Liar. That was our first date.
What's Liar Liar?
The movie.
What?
Liar,
Oh, the
Liar.
movie
Yeah,
Liar
like,
Liar. You said went to Liar Liar. I thought it was like a place.
No, back
no,
then
the movie.
they weren't
like,
going to
Movie.
clubs in 6th
Yeah,
grade.
no.
It's
If it was like a teen center. I don't know.
Right.
No, it was just movies.
So I grew up around it and said I would never be in the car business, just seeing like everything that came with it.
Yeah.
But I really wanted my first car, so I was like, I have to do something. So I started going over and detailing cars.
Yeah.
At the Betsy store when I was like 15. Saved up, got my first car, and then when I had my first car, I started coming to Manistee, and that's how I found out about Manistee. And like,
That's what we
What
did
a-
on the weekends.
what a great
He would
town
bring
this
me over
was.
here, and we were like, we
Yeah.
want to live here.
yeah,
We love
used
it
to
here.
come over to the beach
That's awesome.
and like just fell in love with everything in Manistee, and like someday we're gonna live here. And then I went to Northwood, which is business school in
Yep.
Midland.
A lot of dealership kids go to Northwood.
Yeah, it's like a dealer kid breeding ground.
Yeah.
But it was good because they have you take classes every semester that are automotive related that teach you how to run a dealership, market a dealership, do all those things that come with
Wow.
it. And they had a campus in Florida, which beyond living in Manistee, I wanted to live someplace warm. Like that was my goal. So senior year, I went to Florida, and Kristin went down as
I
well.
followed. I transferred down there.
She transferred down there, so we lived down there. She was a year behind me. So after I graduated, I stayed down there and worked for Allstate Insurance for a few years. And then when she got done, we both moved to Phoenix, to Arizona. Tried different kind of heat, a dry heat.
I hated it.
Yeah.
I liked
She didn't
Florida. He didn't like Florida.
Right.
He loved Phoenix. I hated Phoenix.
Yeah, so we compromised and moved to Manistee.
Michigan.
And we moved back in 2008, which
Okay.
was a great time to...
Yeah.
Everybody
Great-
remembers
great time to
2008 if
move.
you're a
Yeah.
certain age. Yeah.
Yeah, so within short order, we were back here, and I started selling cars just because, came back, and that was what there was to do. But yeah, within short order, we were watching a TV screen to see if we were gonna even have dealerships or what was gonna happen. And
Cash for clunkers.
yep, Cash for Clunkers came around shortly after that, and everything worked out. And so yeah, for the last 15 years, I've been managing the 3 stores, or a majority of the stores for that time period. Just kind of did a little bit of everything. Sales manager, worked in service and parts, and sold cars, and did the whole gamut. And then we started a brand new Chrysler store down in Rockford in the Grand Rapids area.
I remember when you did that.
Yeah, 5 or 6 years ago. So that was an adventure. And I guess before that, we bought the Ludington store, which was Healy Chrysler, and that was 7 years ago.
Yeah, that was a good buy.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
an experience. There was no salespeople.
No, dude.
No, they had like 1 technician, maybe 2 technicians, and 2 service. A service manager and a parts manager.
Wow.
The new car lot was gravel at the time, and they had it was like I say, a 1-man operation. So I went down there, and we had a salesperson, Matt Wood, that worked at the Manistee store with me, and he lived in Scottville. And so I said, hey, you ready to get closer to home? And of course he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I knew he'd be all about it. And we went down there together, kind of 2-man operation for a while. And then we just started building it up and hiring out, and added a lot of staff, and it was an adventure for sure.
So when you
lot of
bought that
coffee.
store, you guys bought that store, no?
We just bought it in last February.
Okay.
Okay.
What was that
Yeah.
conversation like when you broke
Yeah.
away?
Well, it was a family business, and his dad needs to retire eventually.
Yeah.
So it just kind of came up that he was ready to retire, and it was now's the time or not. So
Yeah.
middle of COVID and everything, we were like, yeah, we went in. So we sold the house, had to liquidate some things, and we were able to purchase Ludington. And then we were gung-ho. We wanted to see if we can get Manistee, and then we weren't sure how that was going to go. I think that's how the Watson Motors thing kind of came up because
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we were using the Watson Country
Right.
slogan, and so we had, at the time, I don't know if you remember, we had Jack O'Malley. was
I'm
our
all about
spokesperson.
rebranding.
Yeah.
I love it. So I mean,
Yeah.
because you're going off, and this isn't your dad's Watson's
Right.
anymore. This is yours.
So one of the things
know.
that I always wanted to do was redo the logo, because we had the old Watson's Manistee Chrysler, the little guy with the magnifying glass for years.
Cool one.
Yep.
And then we brought on Jack O'Malley as a spokesperson.
I remember
at
that,
the time
yeah.
he was doing TCM and he was doing 9 and 10. So it was a perfect fit for us because, our customers were the Ram truck drivers, the Jeep people, the minivans, and it was kind of fit in northern Michigan.
Yeah.
Like whatever you're doing, whether you're
Yeah.
camping or off-roading or whatever, like we have something that'll fit your lifestyle. So he was kind of a perfect fit for us, and then obviously he decided to run for political office, and we couldn't continue on with
Yeah.
that, so we backed away from that, and honestly it was right at a time when going into COVID, and it was kind of like we stopped all advertising anyways.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys did, but we were
I mean, I slept down here. I felt like it.
Yeah.
But, like staff went home, and then
We just kinda kept
But see,
going.
like for us, because we're essential.
Yeah, we're essential.
Yeah, right.
We wondered every day, like, are we still going to be essential tomorrow? But anyway.
Government
Yeah.
wants their taxes.
But for everybody, everybody was kind of different. But so going into COVID, you didn't own the Ludington store yet. Okay.
No, so-
You-
I was overseeing all the stores, and then
Okay.
when we started Rockford, I was trying to spend as much time down there as possible. Prior to that, I was spending a lot of time
Yeah.
in Ludington, getting that kind of built up.
Yeah.
And then for a time, I was going to all three stores, Betsy, Manistee, and
Yeah.
Ludington.
That's tough.
My
Did
dad
you guys
lived
buy a store in Alpena too?
Rogers City, and
Okay.
it was long story, but there was some troubles there, and the gentleman that owned that and my dad were friends, and he said, "Hey, would you help? Put some resources into this." And
Gotcha.
It was just
Yeah.
nothing that was really going to take off or work.
Understood.
So I actually only ever went there once in the whole
I
time
forgot
that
about
we're
that.
yeah.
Oh, I remember it because I was still
short-lived.
I was still at Manistee Ford, and when I heard that something was happening in Alpena with you guys, I'm like, God, they're gonna take over the whole state.
Oh.
What are we gonna do?
That was
It's going to be like Sundance.
exactly.
Yeah, right.
You guys are just like giving horse rides.
It wasn't Alpena. It wasn't Alpena. That was an adventure too. But so yeah, and then we built the Rockford store. That was like I was driving sometimes
That was
3 days a
yeah,
week
that
trying to
was-
go down
that's
there
rough.
2 hours.
That's gotta be
each
hard on your
way.
Because I
family.
knew it was going to
Yeah.
happen because I did that drive for school.
Right.
But you were real optimistic. It's like, oh, it'll be fine. But I think there were a couple of times you pretty much
Yeah,
almost
it
fell
was.
asleep driving or something. So it was kind of like,
Those are rough. Those are rough
Yeah.
days.
It was rough, but you know what? You learn a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't do it again. I can tell you that. But when you're younger and put in the
Yeah.
hours, but it was definitely so the Ludington thing. There was a clientele and a service base. It was smaller, and we did build it up, but there it was brand new. There was
Yeah.
nothing, so it was like starting from scratch, and that was crazy. So yeah, and then my dad got to the age where he was thinking about retirement, and said, "Are you guys ready to buy in?" We thought we would try to buy all the stores, and we knew Rockford. There was just no way we could swing that. It was a brand new facility,
Yeah.
and a lot of dollars. And we just knew it wasn't going to happen. So He sold that to Graf. They ended up buying it, and so we had the 3 stores up here, and we thought we could swing all 3 at one time, and again, it was just a big chunk, and couldn't make it happen. So we did just Ludington with hopes that we would, buy the other 2 in time, and so that's what we're working towards. And then we bought Manistee in September.
The end of last year.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we're at right now. And then the rebrand was just so it was one of those things of we've kept a great relationship and kept all 3 stores working together because we share inventory, new cars, used cars, employees, even.
Especially right now.
Yeah, especially during COVID
Christ.
when there was no cars.
Around here when I look at the car, your lot looks beefy in Manistee. I don't get the Ludington. We don't leave the county ever.
He always tells me it's an optical illusion.
But Manistee lot looks great.
Yeah, thank you. Well, a lot of it is optical illusion. Some of it is moving inventory between the stores. We've kept a good used car inventory because that's just a big part of our business, and you don't know what the new cars are going to do. I mean, right now we've got about 20 at each store, new car wise, and in the past we've had 60, 70, at each store.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jeez.
Not even close.
Are you still playing the catch-up chip game? Is that the deal, or?
It's really tough to say. They don't give us a lot of information from the manufacturer, and to be honest with you, Chrysler, Stellantis has done a pretty good job. They've actually moved production around where they had chips and moved those chips to like the best-selling vehicles, so like the Ram trucks, the big
sense.
Jeeps, and things like that. So all in all, it hasn't been terrible. And quite frankly, if the rest of the industry didn't go back to having a huge stock of inventory, I'd be okay with that. But if the guy down the street starts stocking a huge inventory, then you kind of have to follow suit,
Yeah.
But I think they were thinking, okay, the sold order, customers ordering, what they want, that's the way we're going to go. But the reality is a lot of people can't wait, They have to turn in their lease, or there's something wrong with their vehicle, or they're having a new child, or whatever it is, like they can't wait for 90 to 120 days or more to get their vehicle. So
That's wild.
Yeah, that part will be very interesting to see.
Have you taken on a role, Kristin, with the dealership?
She's got her own career.
I know.
Let's hear about this.
She is the financial backer, so she has to keep working.
Well, I wondered this because I know that you have a really good career.
I love my job. And I don't know much about the car dealership stuff. I love Jeeps. I'm a full supporter of that, but when it comes down to it, I have no idea how to do any of that stuff.
I understand.
But
that's kind of
love
how I
healthcare.
am. Like, I have my own thing. He does this.
Yes.
I kind of like know what's going on, but I'm not down here day to day, But
She knows enough to be dangerous because she's been around it with me for so long. But again, she has a great career, and West Shore Bank wouldn't have loaned us the money if she didn't have it.
I love my
so
job.
she's got to keep working.
So I want to hear about your career.
All right. Well, this is one of those weird things. The healthcare, there's always like, you can't talk much about your job. I don't know if you guys know that about it.
But we're going to
healthcare
talk about it
providers.
when I have Kristin on by herself, because you're going to bring props, right? You never answered that.
Oh, about sleep.
I was looking for props.
Talk about what she does. Before we start talking about props, let's be clear about what we're doing
I
here.
don't know what kind of props you want.
Let's make it clear here. Oops.
Yeah, so I'm a physician assistant.
Yeah.
And I work at the hospital here in the sleep clinic. Growing up, I guess I started my undergrad at Central, moved to Florida. I didn't go to Northwood. I went to Palm Beach Atlantic. It was a smaller school, but it was the closest one I could get to him. I got my bachelor's in biology, chemistry major, psychology minor. This was a long time ago. It's almost kind of hard to remember these things. Then we did the moving around thing. Came home. Once we settled down in Manistee, I got into Grand Valley, and so I did my master's with them. It's like 3.5 years with rotations
For
and
the
everything.
nursing masters?
Yeah, and it's actually, I know it's not nursing, but basically NPs and PAs
Okay.
are like same level ground, I guess, but different ways of getting there.
Okay.
So I got my PA through there. We had Addie, And then like 3 months later, I started primary care.
Oh my God, that's not
Chrysler Clinic.
overwhelming.
Jeez,
I loved it.
No, but I mean to do it 3 months after having
it
your
just
first child.
planned out perfectly.
Yeah.
I like ended school, and then of course, well, the other funny thing, we were engaged for 7 years, so I was like, before I get all my stuff, we got to get married. So
Yeah, a short engagement.
we eloped, got married, and then ended up.
Because you don't have to change your name on everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did my PA
yeah.
stuff. Then we had Addie. Then I started work at Chrysler Clinic. And with one kid, it was okay. I could do it. But primary care is labor intensive. It's very emotional, and unlike like your job looks fun. Like you just like
Yeah, it's so much
happy,
fun.
you bring people up and stuff. But it's hard
I
to
tried
go
to.
into like rooms with people, and it's like there's
That are sick.
healthcare is
having
draining.
challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be hard.
Emotionally, mentally, and then especially when I was done with work, I'm like, I can't go see people because it's like you just
Yeah.
can't. I don't have anything left to do that. But with Addie, it was fine.
100%. I agree with that.
Yeah,
After
I can
work,
see
dude.
that.
Yeah.
Especially even in cars, it's like when I go home, I don't even want to. I just want to be
During
like,
COVID, he was like the confessional because people couldn't go anywhere,
Right.
and he'd come home and be like, I don't
They
know what
just-
to do with all
they
this
just-
emotional
yeah,
energy that you absorb from people. You
I
know?
gotta tell you
Like,
this
yeah.
secret
Yes.
that this person told me today. That's what every night.
See, that's nice, but I can't do that.
Right,
So I
you
go
can't
home,
talk
I'm like,
about-
how was work? I'm like, well,
Yeah.
I mean, in vague, very weird ways.
I can't talk about
Yeah,
my
same
work.
with Betsy.
I can't
Right.
say like,
No.
oh my gosh, I talked to this person today.
Yeah.
I can't even be like, oh, I talked to this fun person today. Like, I just had to be
Yeah.
like, oh, it was a rough day.
I'd be in a room with somebody and be like, yeah, tell Cody I said hi. It's like, I have to get the okay from you to say
Yeah.
I seen you to tell him
Yeah.
hi. But it was, I don't know.
So how long did you do primary care?
About 5 years.
Wow.
4 to 5
Okay.
years. And I really liked it.
That's
but then
awesome.
we had Finn. Finn was a very challenging child. And I knew I would not be able to do
Was?
it. She's not anymore. I think she's gotten better.
She's a sweetheart. I like her. I love her energy. I know it's
Got
challenging,
great
energy.
but I love her energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of sacrifice. I love primary care, but I knew like
Yeah.
you can't do primary care part-time. I'm a
Yeah.
firm believer in that. Like you can't be there 2 days a week. It doesn't work for that
Yeah,
kind of
especially
thing.
if your patients want to see you.
Yeah.
Well, and I would feel
Yeah.
bad being like,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm not there.
Sorry you get this person today.
Yeah, that's just so I knew something had to change at that point. So started looking around, and I somehow applied for this position at the hospital, and it was for the sleep clinic, and then it was split between radiology. I go down and do stress tests, and I was like, yeah, we'll give it a try. We'll see how it goes. And it actually ended up being a huge blessing. I love it. In primary care, I always felt like I left at the end of the day and you're drained and like, how much good did I do? I just prescribed these medicines with these side effects, and I really hope my patients are getting better. And then now, it's like I rarely prescribe medications, and I'm like getting people to sleep. And when we're doing the stress test, I was like, it's kind of fun in the morning. I get up and like making people run on the treadmill and like talking about heart health and stuff. That was really cool. More hands-on, so that was kind of fun. And then the sleep clinic was in the afternoon. I was like getting people to sleep. Like sleep is important, and getting them off medications.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. So I don't know how it transitioned. I kind of went everywhere. I was in walk-in clinic here and there. I ended up going to Cadillac for a while, and then ended up full-time in sleep. And I like it. I do. I love to sleep. The nice thing, there's no nights, there's no weekends. Their primary care, it was every other Saturday. It was late, like I was there till 6, and there was no flexibility.
Yeah.
So now it's kind of like between the two of us, he works long hours, I work more concise hours. His are flexible when I'm working, but then when he's not working, I have the flexibility. So it works.
That is
Yeah.
the nice thing. We were talking about the kids earlier, and that's the benefit. Like I have
Yeah.
longer hours, but I'm flexible. I can jump out and grab the kids, and if she's tied up or whatever. So that works out really well.
Yeah.
And somebody's sick, I feel bad, but I rarely do it, but I'm like, yeah, we can move patients. It's not like a big deal, where in primary care it's like, I mean, you got things you got to review. I don't know. I remember a couple patients where I was like, I can't cancel. I need to go in. So then I felt really bad being like, sorry. But I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's a give and take.
I
But
have-
this works. This
I have
works
so
right
many
now.
questions. But
About
I want
sleep
But I
or
want to
about-
be strategic because I want to save them for when I get her one-on-one. But I have one in particular. I'm just dying since we started talking about this.
I can't wait to hear this.
I got a friend who I love dearly, and he's like, I know I got sleep apnea, and I think I know what the problem is. It's probably a weight issue.
Definitely plays a role. Not always though, but yeah, it definitely plays a role.
Well, I mean, that was my whole thing. I think he's just he weighs too much.
Alcohol?
But, alcohol. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, these are all. But this is always. By the time people end up in my office, I'm like, hey, I know you've tried losing weight. You tried losing. But it's hard to do because when you sleep at night, your metabolism is supposed to reset. And people who have things like sleep apnea or insomnia and all these things, like you're not getting that. You're not getting that reset. So you're fighting a losing battle. So I'm like, let's get you sleeping. Yeah. Maybe we get you on the machine or the bike guard or whatever. But then the goal is always get you off.
To get you off.
Yeah,
well, that's
it's
good
not
to hear.
Death sentence.
How do people come to you?
Referrals.
So, like, they're going to their doctor and somehow, like, I'm
Yeah.
not sleeping, I'm not whatever, and then they refer to you.
Yeah. And there didn't really used to be a sleep clinic, but sleep is built, I don't know, got a lot of steam right now. People
Yeah,
are
it
like,
does.
sleep is important.
You
Sleep is really
were
important.
ahead of your time.
I was, it was really
picked
cool.
a good career because it's blown up now. Like
it's kind of it's fun.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
That's
I'm a
kinda
stickler.
cool.
I want to get 8 hours at
Oh,
least
for
every
sure.
night.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, like growing up, I always went to bed at the same time and got up at the same time, and she would like make fun of me because it was high school.
I didn't have to sleep when I was younger.
Throughout,
I have to
like
sleep
I
now.
always got 8
Yeah.
hours for some reason. I don't
Yeah.
know, but now
Once I'm programmed,
now tables have turned.
I don't use an alarm clock. I haven't used an alarm clock since the Air Force.
Yeah.
Yeah, since before the Air Force, I guess.
Yeah.
Alcohol, it's funny because I was just listening to a podcast the other day. It suppresses this. You probably know. There's something in the brain
She's
that
testing you right
that
now.
it,
She's like, I know
that
the
it suppresses. It's like basically, it's like, so if you go to bed and you're buzzed up or you're drunk
Yeah,
or something
you
like
fall
that,
asleep
you
quick.
fall asleep, but
But
you're
you
not
wake up.
really sleeping.
Yeah.
And then like you ever notice like if you have like a bunch of drinks and then go to bed and then like maybe an hour or two before you're supposed to get up, like bang, like all the dreams come in at once.
Yeah.
It's because you've slept like shit all night or haven't slept.
Yeah. You
And
sleep
then
for
all
the
of a
first
sudden
2 hours,
it all hits you.
and then it just wipes your deep sleep
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, like no deep sleep until the alcohol is like gone.
Right.
Right? Hey?
And you can do that when you're younger, but at our advanced age, you can't do that anymore.
Stage. But like I can't do that.
Yeah.
And like even just if I have a bad last night, I just had a million things on my mind, just like house stuff and and just I slept, but I feel like I didn't sleep like fully, and it drives me nuts.
Now,
Yeah,
do you
'cause-
nap?
No.
No, I'm not.
I want
I'm
to
just.
so bad.
I
I feel
I'm just not a
guilty.
napper.
See, people say naps, and you think you need a sleep. Everybody's like, I need to go like lay down for an hour and wake up
Yeah.
and be like, can't feel my lips. But a nap, honestly, is like 15 to 20 minutes, and
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
think you're sleeping though. So I'm like, just try it. It's so hard to get people to do these things, but it's so gratifying when they come back. I'm like, just at 1 o'clock. I know you don't have time. Nobody has time, but at 1 o'clock, after you have lunch, don't even lay down. Just set your alarm. 15, 20 minutes. You'll get light sleep.
Yeah.
And light sleep, you can be aware of your surroundings. You're not going to think you're sleeping, but you will get the benefits of it.
What was the thing where you're supposed to like down a coffee and then take a 20
I
minute
saw
Kind
that
of,
too
yeah.
somewhere.
Supposed to wake
I
you
saw
up,
that too
yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't have caffeine after lunchtime.
Is that a real
There's so
thing?
many
can't.
rules here.
Really?
Yeah, it's 12-hour half-life.
For
Any
real?
See, I
caffeine.
told you.
I go to bed.
He drinks coffee in the
I know, but
afternoon.
you're
I can't have
missing out on
coffee
deeper
past
sleep.
morning.
Am I really?
Yeah.
Son
See?
of a bitch.
I
What time do
told
I
you.
have to stop?
Noon. Then
Really?
it's out of your system at midnight.
Oh, like 1 o'clock? I'm on my way to the best cold brew in town at 1 o'clock every day.
Okay, that's not the worst. You gotta like
Yeah, 1 o'clock.
down it
that's
real
not-
quick.
That's
then.
not.
Yeah, it doesn't take long. 5
But,
minutes
like
and it's
noon.
gone.
I tell
Yeah.
people noon.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that 1 o'clock is like my
What's the
See,
best cold brew in
instead-
town, though? That's the good question.
outpost. I'll say it all out.
Hands down.
Okay.
Oh, 'cause they make
That's
it right.
recorded, yeah.
Okay.
They make it the right way.
All right.
Well, they cold brew it. They don't just like make coffee and then pour it over ice and dilute it.
I'm
They
gonna
brew it
try
cold.
that.
It's the best.
I've not had their
They do it
cold
the right
brew.
way. Steep it cold, everything. Yep.
Nice.
serious stuff.
Yeah, they know what they're doing down there.
This is a
1
coffee
o'clock
guy
tomorrow.
Right here. He's going to be there.
It's so good. And when they have their nitro on, which last year I felt like it was August. We just have to get Kyle moving along to get it going. But
Give him a nudge.
like at men's night, when they're pouring draft
Yeah.
beer, that's
Yeah.
where the nitro comes out of. So
Nice.
they'll make it and they'll draw it out of there. But yeah.
Gotta try that.
Yeah. I am like crazy about like, I guess maybe not crazy, but I mean, I do a lot of things to try to just like dial in my health. And
Yeah.
one of the questions that I had for you was like, what would you ask your patients to do, even if you put them on a CPAP or a dental implant or something like that? Are there holistic ways that you look at them and say,
Oh, yeah.
like meditation, or what can you do?
That is the first line. Well, it depends on your problem. So that's the actually really fun thing about sleep. We have
Yeah.
this huge questionnaire, and it's just like you really have to figure out. Everybody's different. Everybody's sleep. The body is an incredible thing. Like we will never know why people are different. But once you can pinpoint, is it you're having difficulty falling asleep? Maybe you're just not getting deep sleep. Whatever it is. That's how it has to be personalized, but we're always like, the last thing I want to do is put you on medicine. That's the best thing about sleep. I was like, I love it here. I rarely prescribe medications. Restless legs is a big one. That'll be a
talk about
temporary
restless
thing.
legs. What the hell is restless legs? People
It's horrible. I can tell you from firsthand experience.
you
have
have
it?
it?
Because
So what is
she
it?
has terrible
I have it.
restless legs.
People talk
So-
about it. Like I had a friend that tells me that like all of a sudden their leg will go straight up in the air.
Oh, she doesn't have it that bad. But I'll wake up in the morning and be like, so how was your run last night? Because,
Stop it.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll wake up to just like a random like,
So that's a
Jar
whole
you away.
episode. Just so you know, restless legs, we could do a whole
Well,
episode
I'm
there.
down for that.
Yeah.
But definitely always sleep hygiene stuff, I guess, going back to that, it is a lot of an hour before bedtime, put down the electronics.
Yeah.
But people are in bed with their phones,
Yeah.
and you can tell them that, and they'll be like, I'm not doing that. I can only fall asleep with my TV. I do it too. I know it's bad.
I do it sometimes too. I know it's horrible.
Yeah,
But
we
it's
know
like,
Funny is,
I
like,
just
it's like-
sit down for a minute. Like this is my like
Our
only time to
nightly,
sit down.
our nightly deal when we're finally in bed together. She comes in. She goes, "Did you see the videos I sent you?" And I'm like, "No."
They're usually like funny videos or
Well, come
memes
here,
or
and so
something.
we'll watch
Right.
funny videos.
Like I just need to
together,
laugh
and then we'll
before
read.
bed, you know?
Yeah,
Just a little relief.
it is funny though.
Yeah.
'Cause we know we shouldn't do it.
cat videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean-
send him lots of cat videos. He's like, I hate cats. Makes it even better. But yeah.
What about the lights?
Sleep
Oh,
hygiene,
yeah.
There's so many questions that
Like
I want to
dark
ask
room,
her.
right? Pitch like a cave.
Yeah.
Right.
You've had the sleep hygiene down.
65 degrees.
The cooler, the better.
Yeah. 60 something, right?
Sure. If you not
Yeah,
ours
colder.
because we don't have AC in our room.
Something
But
about the legs. I mean, I have a list already. I've written in my
Alright.
computer of all the things. It's a lot, but I think it's
Sleep
gonna be fun.
is sleep is really in vogue right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed sleep, but it's very in right now. I've never been one like, oh, I'm going to sleep for 6 hours.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not trying that. I just have never been that person. But right now, it's very,
You know who really enjoys sleep? Our son.
yeah.
Yeah. Like
It's
there's
a
a lot of
teenager
sleep
thing
going
going
on
on.
with him.
They
But
need
there's
that.
a whole thing when they're
They need
teenagers.
that.
There
Yeah.
is a whole thing that really is
Yeah.
a huge developmental, like,
There's a lot going on.
yeah.
Right.
I got
Yeah.
stuff going on. They need sleep.
The
I-
older you get, the less sleep you need. Is that-
Unfortunately,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Why
Sleep
is that?
changes with age.
Yeah,
Less
I watched
melatonin or something.
That will play a role.
I watched a
Or
video of a guy
deterioration.
who was like 96, 97 or something like that. It was a beautiful video. And he was like all by himself. And, like I think he was talking to like his great grandson or something. His grandson was asking him, you know, what'd you do last night? And he was just like, well, I was up till like midnight, you know, just putzing around the house, and then fell asleep, got up at 2, and then I was wide awake, so I just made some eggs and had a beer. And, you know, he'd been up since, you know, and he's like, but then he was like, it kind of got a little deep. He was like, oh, I'm just lonely or whatever. But,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, you get to a certain age, like, yeah, like how much sleep do you require?
Well,
Yeah.
sleep is a funny thing. We think we need to sleep a certain way, but especially right now, it's all environmental. Like, we sleep the way we sleep because we have to get up and we have to
Yeah.
function during said times. But
Not 7 to 9
especially after you
hours.
retire, I mean, that does change. But it's still important to try to maintain a
schedule.
block of sleep at night.
And a schedule, right?
Yes,
So go to bed at the
yes.
same time, wake up at the
Yep.
same time, 7 to 9 hours.
That'd be perfect.
So knowing what you know, I just can't stop. So knowing what you know, like with your girls.
That's what I was going to ask
Yeah.
about the
Because
kids.
like with like Mary, like we know if she doesn't get to bed at a prescribed time, because so we all go to bed at the same time. Betsy said that earlier.
When
because
we go
know
to bed, it kind of helps her settle down.
Yeah,
we
sure.
wake up really
There's
early,
an
and so it just
energy in the
kind
we
of
house.
deviate a half an hour the next morning. Dude, the next morning.
What time does she get up at?
6:45 is when I wake her up for school. Is
But
when I
now that
go
we're
in
out
there
of
and wake her
school,
up.
it's like 7:15.
Yeah, we just
if
let her
I let
wake
her, if I let her sleep in, like on the weekend, I hear her rumbling. Like she's not sleeping a whole lot later, but she might come out at like 8. But she's awake in there. But I remember when after I had her, somebody gave me the book. Healthy
What was
Kids.
that?
Was it Healthy Kids, Healthy Sleep? Something like that.
Okay.
I'm butchering the name, but it was. But
It
the
had
whole
a-
thing.
it's
it
everything
was-
about sleep.
It was all about sleep and how huge sleep is to like
Especially
behavioral.
kids.
Yes, with kids behavioral and
Attention
how
deficit.
how we've gradually over the last few decades we've taken away their sleep, especially with activities in school and how much kids need sleep.
Yeah.
And at that time, our older two were. They would have been like 10 to 12, kind of. Yeah, 10 to 12. And I'm like, they're not sleeping enough. They're not.
Yeah.
Here we have this little baby, and I'm like, the older two aren't sleeping enough because it went through all ages. And in the teen years, how you need drastically more sleep because your body is like, and your brain is doing so much. So, what do you do? What do you do for your girls? Are there things that you?
We try.
Yeah,
Try. But that's where the environmental stuff,
Yeah.
it's like, well, they have to be up for school, which
Yeah.
there is a big push. Like a lot of states start school later.
Yeah.
For kids.
And no
to
homework.
accommodate.
And no homework.
Yeah, I'm not a homework
Homework
fan.
is dumb.
I'm not.
I'm, for my one child, she needs it.
It depends on
It depends on the
child.
kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Some kids need it, some kids don't.
Yeah.
I always look at it like, I say this analogy a lot with homework. Like, you're not selling cars at home. Maybe you are. Maybe somebody's texting you, but what I mean is like your car lot is at the car lot. It's not at home.
Right.
The sleep study is at the hospital. It's not at home.
We have them at home. We do sleep studies at home.
But I
It's
mean,
blowing
for you,
your mind right now. Oh,
Yeah.
right?
Oh.
Like you're not.
You're not
at
taking your
home.
work and doing it at 8
Oh,
o'clock
yes,
at night.
Yeah,
I'm
that's what I
sorry.
mean.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not selling liquor at home, even though some people try to
see. Yeah.
buy it from me on the phone. Like, I get all like,
Bootlegging.
school just drives me crazy because of the amount of work. Like, my 7-year-old comes home with homework. It's like, come on. When all she wants to do is go outside and like make mud pies and dig for
Yeah.
worms and climb
Yeah.
trees.
See, we got Finn. She
I
comes home.
digress.
She's like, I got homework, and is like so excited to sit down and do her homework.
Isn't that wild?
I'm
No.
like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all different.
So with like, okay, you've got school, and then they're in activities, and you have to eat, and sometimes you have to bathe them, and you have
Sometimes.
to like do all
Very
the
rarely.
yeah,
Not
like,
even
Like smell
recommended to do it
test.
every
yeah, like,
yeah, dude, I'm the smell test guy
Yeah.
in the house for sure. Like, wow, she's
so then how do you then all of a sudden like, okay, now it's time to wind down and go to bed? Like,
Yeah,
it's
no,
hard.
It's really hard. And we've had that talk too, because with the gymnastics stuff, we're getting home so late. But
Yeah.
I'm like, we've tried. I don't know.
Do you have
balance.
routines that you do, or is it just like,
Luckily, not so much
Yeah.
anymore. They've gotten. I mean, we're very strict about like no electronic. We rarely have the TV on, honestly,
Yeah.
in the house.
yeah,
But for my older daughter, if she could, she would never go to sleep. She would sit there all night and watch
it's
her.
addicting? Yeah,
Oh,
But
it's the same with
reading-
Mary. I mean, our older two, though, because they're older, we're like, kind of just do your own thing.
Yep.
But we haven't had cable in,
yeah.
I don't know. We had PBS for a while because we just had like a
We
little
had the thing
antenna
in the
that we
window,
put up.
Right.
you know, the
Yeah.
like, and all we could get was PBS and PBS Create.
Yeah. And then I got one of those stick things because of I
still
had
don't
to
understand
because
any
of
of this.
yeah, because of Frozen.
We got
That's
Disney
a big
Plus
deal.
during the pandemic. We
Yeah.
totally
that was
caved and got Disney
necessary.
Plus.
Yeah.
But it had National Geographic, and she's been really into Secrets of the Zoo, and now it's
Have you guys watched Secrets of the Zoo?
No.
Let me just break this down
wild,
real quick.
by the way.
Okay.
Wild.
One day, I'm just in the kitchen because we let Mary. It's basically an hour. We let Mary watch like a
it's
show.
For me, it's better than the
docu-series?
Princess.
Yeah, it's like a Discovery.
It's like the
Right.
Cleveland
So it's like
Zoo
a
and the
se-
Tampa Zoo, and
Yeah.
they go in and there's the animals, and they're always having a crisis, and then it's like,
I'm in the kitchen and I hear, well, it looks like he's got a partial erection. And I'm like,
they're constantly mating.
walks
so much.
out and
they're
they had like
const-
a fox or something. I don't know. Mary could tell you what it
Yeah.
was, and they were trying
Leopard,
they were
cheetah,
trying to
yeah.
pull semen out of it.
Yeah, artificially
And-
inseminate. They do a
And
lot of
that's what
that.
hooked
Yeah.
you?
yeah.
No, but every now and again you
They're
get
like, what are you watching?
yeah. Or it's like, something has got a tumor, or then there was that like
Yeah, but somebody's getting
Cheetah with the-
impregnated every episode.
there's a lot of
FYI. There's an
and Mary's
animal
What was
always
the
like-
name of that show?
Secrets
Yeah.
of the Zoo.
and Mary's always like, the sand cats. She loves the sand cats, and I think they're native to like Egypt or something. She loves them, and she's like, they're very endangered. There's not very many. That's why they've got to, and they weren't mating, and was there a problem with them? And then finally they brought in feces from another sand cat from another zoo because they were trying to get the male to become like
Yeah.
territorial, and it's like you're watching, you're like, this is like a whole wow,
What's
yeah,
kinda awesome,
going on?
whatever.
Yeah.
It's better than the
Yeah.
like princess stuff for me. It's
like
a nice
these things-
break for.
But it's great for me too because I watch it with her and like the
Now she's on
the Egypt
ancient-
stuff.
so
Well, now
it's
she's
kinda
on
like-
Rome.
Yeah,
but-
now they're in Secrets of Ancient Rome, but she has that like one thing, but otherwise we don't. The TV isn't. We don't watch
But if we
TV
let her
otherwise.
with the iPad, it would be all day.
Yeah.
It would be all day.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's great that
I like-
school's over with now.
And it goes back to school.
Because after school was always like, have your water, have a little snack, and then it was like, can I be on my iPad?
And to a certain extent, I understand that it's a
Yeah.
release because I do it sometimes too. After a
Yep.
hard day at work, like I just want to sit and like just watch something funny.
out for
Yeah,
it, yeah.
make me laugh. So I understand that, and I don't want to take that away because I think for a lot of kids it is a stress relief. But how do you put the guardrails on?
That's the thing I have a hard time with because they need to know how to use that technology.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be their future.
Yeah.
So if they're doing something productive with it, where do you draw that line in the sand?
Yeah.
Because I think these kids are using the iPads all day long at school.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like,
Well, like I got really pissy when they got rid of like the library.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then, that was a hot.
That was a hot
for us.
topic.
I was real sad.
Oh,
I'm like,
our house too. I was like,
That was a huge
I
thing.
felt like they could have.
because
I'm just gonna say that I felt like they could have kept that, but like to replace it with coding,
Yeah.
or that hour with coding or whatever. I know why they did the coding thing.
Sure,
Because
absolutely.
that's what they're gonna do
Yeah.
when they get older.
Yeah.
Like their job is gonna have something to do with.
yep.
They're making sure that these kids know what they're doing when they graduate because
Mhm.
they're going to have to do something with computers or
Yep.
programming or something like that. And that's the shit that Trent's going into.
Yeah.
It's just like the way it's going. But I mean, we use our public library like crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Go to
mean,
the girls.
love
yeah,
going
Yeah.
there.
we love it. We go
Yeah.
there probably usually once a week, maybe
Yeah.
every other week. But like, there's a lot of kids that aren't able,
Yeah.
or don't have the resources, don't have the parents that are taking them to the library. So like that,
Yep. We had
to now
the
take it away
same
from
conversation.
the schools.
I just think they really, I think we all know this, and this is the part I don't understand. Like, I know everything's going to computers because it's easier and everything, but I think especially kids, I think their brains literally process things differently on paper than
I 100%
on
agree.
computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys read paperback books or do
Yeah.
you read like a
Yep.
Kindle
Nope.
or
No,
electronic version?
paper.
Okay, so I have that same
I-
thing. Like,
yeah.
I had to read a paper book.
I haven't actually read a real book in a while.
And he enjoys listening to books. That's just his way of. I don't listen as well, and he
Yep.
listens to books a lot. And we've gotten those for Mary too. Like up at the library, they have the books on tape, but they have the playaways, which are really
yes.
cool. Have you gotten those?
I've seen them. We didn't get
They're
them.
great.
Oh, Island of
They're
the Blue
great.
Dolphins is her absolute favorite. Finley would love it.
I will let them
It's
know.
like it's a little like, and they have them for adults too, but they're like a little like thing, and you just plug it in.
Like a
you plug in
player iPod.
plug in
It's
your
got one
headphones
story on
Yep.
it or
and
whatever,
and hit play, and you can skip chapters, whatever.
awesome.
And she'll just like lay in the window and listen to Island of the Blue Dolphins. I think she listened to 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
You know,
That's
because
fair.
Doing it.
the books on
that
tape are
part's just
cool,
like
but you
when I talk to
gotta.
other parents, though, I'm always like, like, don't be I think some parents think their kids would be afraid to just like read a book, but like I'm always saying, no. I watch my kids. Like if you just keep putting it in front of them, like Mary every night, she's just not to just say it's Mary, whatever, but she's in bed reading.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
it's
I
something
think,
they're interested
and
in.
it
Yeah.
really like.
Yeah, if
for
they get to
sure.
pick the books and read whatever you want, I don't
Yep.
care. Yeah.
That is our typical routine. Like we'd get
Yeah.
together as a family, and both of them would read to wind down for the night, like
Yeah.
you were saying earlier. So that
Yeah.
does seem to calm them down, calms the brain down, and
Yes, because otherwise it's like the witching hour, and all of a sudden they're like doing flips and fighting with each other.
Yeah.
No.
yeah.
Yeah.
We have to separate them too. That's, I don't know, they wind each other up, unfortunately.
3 years apart. I mean, they're
know.
gonna
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. Sisters. Yeah.
Have you thought about becoming a doctor?
No,
No.
because for me to do that, I would have to go back and do 4 years of medical school.
Oh.
And no, we were very lucky. Like the first, after PA school, I think it took like 3 or 4 years to get out of student loan debt. And that was
Well,
like
congratulations.
we were like,
That's
Yeah.
that's aggressive, and that's
Yeah.
really wonderful. I mean, that's one of the things that we kind of pride ourselves on, is making
Yeah.
sure that we just get the debt paid for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
You know.
I graduated and I was like, I can't have this over top of me. So we got rid of that to go back and do that again. And they definitely make a lot more money than me, but I guess I like what I do. I
Yeah.
like the flexibility of my job because I can switch. I mean, it's not easy, and it would take a lot of energy and like a lot of studying and that kind of thing, but it wouldn't make sense for me to go. I wish I had gone the nursing route though, because that would be, you could go back and do nursing and NP, but I can't do nursing.
Yeah.
I think you made a pretty good choice.
Everything worked out.
pretty well.
Everything
Yeah.
worked out.
I remember this, speaking of student loan debt. When I was just starting in sales, we had a gal pull up to the dealership, Ford store. I mean, she was driving it had like 300,000 miles on it, Ford Focus. It was beat to hell, and she was in scrubs. She came in and wasn't my lead or anything like that. Some other salesman had her, but anyways, landed on a vehicle and went into finance. And new doctor, making like almost $300K a year. Not quite into a full year yet, of salary, but had so much student loan
Oh,
debt,
man.
couldn't get approved for the new vehicle, even though she had the money.
Yep.
That's scary.
And
And it just keeps
that-
getting more and more expensive.
I couldn't even imagine what the amount of debt that was. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you went to school and didn't work and just focused on trying to get your degree and took all of the debt load to finish something like that,
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see that a lot. That, and a lot of times, the higher the income, the more debt they take on, and slippery slope. But
Yeah. So no, I will never. I would never do that. I'm happy I ended up where I did. Everything happens for a reason.
well,
I always tell them that.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome that you
Yeah, I think
that
that's
you
really
love what you do. So that leads me to one of the questions that I wanted to ask was like, okay, as a couple, as a family, with a family business, how do you make decisions together?
Oh,
for
this is a meaty
growth?
question.
Because well, Betsy's got her own career, right? And I would love nothing more for her than to be able to just, work with me more than she already does. I mean, we've said it a million times. People are probably tired. She's a CPA, and it's amazing what she can do for our company. Like, we wouldn't be able to do the things that we're doing. We would, but we would just have to
Yeah.
budget vastly differently.
Yeah, you would.
Um,
Yeah.
but it would definitely look different. But like what I was going to say is I would love nothing more for her and I to be able to work more together in the business and not have to. Could we lean on her income?
Yeah.
To keep our small business going, especially in the slower months. But I guess what I'm saying is you absolutely love what you're doing.
Yeah.
You've expressed that.
Yes.
How do you make decisions for growth for Watson Motors?
Yeah.
Or where do you foreshadow the business? Where do you see the future going for the business?
Well, I think we're the same. I mean, we lean on her, rely on her, to have a great career and separate income. And then also we want to stay married, so it's good if she has her own career.
And you still have to maintain your flexibility.
Yeah.
And, that's something and luckily
there has been sacrifice.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not complaining about it. Like, I would love to do primary care again, but I can't right now.
Right.
And that's fine. And this is it's working for us.
In the future, we've talked about it. I mean, maybe not working as much or whatever if the girls are still in the house, to enjoy that time, but
Yeah,
we'll see where that
I think you
goes.
always want more time with them, but Sam, I don't know. It's always like, well, they went to daycare, and I was like, you know what, they had a great daycare, and their experience there, and their friends that they made. Even now, they're just like really good friends with kids from that. So I don't.
Yeah.
But it's the mom guilt. I
Yeah,
think, 'cause you're like, oh,
100%. You're like, I should be baking bread and like,
Sewing their clothes.
yeah, and like, I don't know, doing enriching
You do those
activities
things.
with what?
You make their clothes.
No, I was baking bread. But Mary really wanted to bake bread, and I'm like, okay, we can try and bake sourdough. And then it was like she wasn't doing it, only I was doing it,
I've
and
never
I'm
had
like,
homemade sourdough.
It's the
well,
best,
I'm
dude.
sorry,
It's
it's
the
over. I
absolute
dumped it
best.
out because I was like, this is just like the straw that broke the camel's back.
First
I
of
can't
all,
like.
it
you
took
don't have to do
it
that.
took
Yeah, I know.
like
I know.
a
I'm like,
week
you
and a
know what,
half
this-
of trying to grow this.
It took 2 weeks
this
to get the thing
bean,
going.
right? And it started working,
Yeah, this is great.
and then you made a few batches of bread.
Yeah.
What do they call that?
Phenomenal.
Starter.
I think just
Starter.
starter. I don't know if there's a
Yeah.
name for it, but
Pancakes.
it was cool. Pancakes,
Amazing.
yeah.
What?
But you got to keep the thing alive, and flour, and then you're baking the bread, and you got to like none of it takes a ton of time. It's just like, okay, you got to do this step, and then wait, and then do this step, and then wait, and then okay, I got to wake up and do this one step so that it can like rise, and I'm like, I think I'm over this.
Yeah.
I think
And
it's
I'm
not like we
pissy.
can't buy
I'm like,
bread
I can't
somewhere.
believe you killed that thing because I was loving the bread.
Yeah, and but it was just one of those things where I'm like, this is just. It was at a time when I was just feeling overwhelmed, and I'm like, this is just one thing that, like, I'm
Gotta
not
cut
doing.
out.
Yeah.
You got to be able to say
Maybe
no
in the
to things.
future, but it's the mom guilt thing of you just feel like I should like want to be home with them all day, and when
Which, for me, I don't think it would go well.
Yeah.
Like, through the
It's
COVID stuff and trying
Yeah.
to, but we were also trying to work through that.
that
too,
was a
so
weird
that was
time.
difficult.
I'm going to give it at least another year and a half, 2 years before I really have a COVID conversation on here.
Oh,
But-
okay. Moving on.
I'm just kidding. We're far enough into the podcast where we probably say all kinds of shit.
That was a crazy time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember just struggling.
Yeah.
It's not easy to stay home with them either.
Yeah.
So I think we're doing our best. It is what it is. Everything happens for a reason.
But yeah, I guess to answer your question, she has taken on like some different projects of like doing the logo. So we had a company out of Muskegon redo the logo.
Who did it?
I like it.
Revel Marketing out
Yep,
of Muskegon.
I've seen them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's something we had talked about for a long time.
I like
and
it.
That was one of the things I never had time to do when I was
Yeah.
managing the stores. I was just spread too thin at the time. And then when we only had Ludington, I was like, what the hell do I do with all my free time?
Yeah.
Like, going from 4 stores to 1,
Yeah.
And so I was like, I always wanted to get the logo redone, so we're going to do it. And she went with me, and, we went through the whole process together and kind of told them what we wanted, something simple, clean, that we can evolve, through the years. And so, yeah, she's helped with that.
That was nice of you to
Christmas party, like stuff that I probably wouldn't be that great at. Like, I'm not going to plan a Christmas party and,
Some of the best ideas come from our ladies, my friend.
for sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easier when you're outside of it.
I do agree with that, and that's one thing I struggle with. Just again, being around it pretty much my entire life, it's like I try to have an outside view, but
It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And initially, I was like, I want to be involved. And
Yeah.
he was like, all right, like, here's a little something to try. So we're just little things. That's all. He's just
And I think
me be involved.
you should be involved. Like with our business, for 20 some years, I was selling beer and wine. So I mean, I got a pretty good idea of like what's going on out there, but I have no idea on how to do the books.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, how much is? Let's just go. But also, Betsy has a wonderful knowledge of wine, so it lends well to what we're doing.
Sometimes
we
it's
lean on each other.
Something totally random where we're just like, like, what can we do to like advertise, drum up business, whatever. Sometimes I have an idea that's totally like
This was
off
her
the wall.
idea, and these have been really great. I'm gonna do more of these for sure.
Sometimes I'm like, what if we do this? Why don't we try this? Because I don't know. I just popped in my head, So sometimes when you're outside, I think you can have different ideas,
Yep.
So we're still working that part. But he
Do
humors
you
me.
involve your girls at all?
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
Addie, our oldest daughter, she answers the phones, and we've got candy machines in the store that they're
Nice.
responsible for refilling.
Perfect.
Which, speaking of that,
We're
we
not
need
great
peanut
at.
M&Ms
We're
in Ludington right
we're
now.
getting into
Yeah.
a new.
But
We're getting into it.
yeah, so they do that, and then they get to keep the change out of it. That's kind of their reward for
That's
doing
cool.
it. And she actually wants to go to work.
She wants
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She would rather go to work with me than go to school, and I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah, we had that.
Mary's like
yeah.
that.
Yeah. So that's cool to see.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not gonna sway them at all. Like, I want them to do what they want to do in the future, but
But even
You
in just
never
getting
know.
them exposed to it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
She likes it. It's
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
it's a good life experience if nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
And
mean,
she's
you
not
grew up in it.
super helpful yet, but like
No.
Yeah.
it's
No.
kind of it's interesting.
It's good marketing.
I can
now.
tell you
Yeah,
that
sure.
the guys in service pick up the phone when she's answering because she pages like it blows out their eardrums. So 'cause she's talking right into the receiver. But,
Yes, if you call, Addie might answer. Just
yeah.
so you be
Yeah.
nice to
So
her.
if it sounds like you're talking to a 10-year-old girl, you might
You
be.
are talking to a 10-year-old.
Oh.
She gets paid in Snickers and
Mm-hmm.
she loves candy.
Yeah. M&Ms.
No, she does get she has her savings thing.
But I think she'll get more involved
Yeah.
with
I
time.
think
But
she
right
will.
now, again, she's busy with her own career, and
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't expect
Yeah.
her to ask me things about sleep, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe I can give an outside perspective, but it's not like I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
have any idea what I'm talking about.
I get it. You're not going to sell cars right now.
Not right now, maybe
But
next month.
I do think it's.
That is the bad part about primary care. She referred a lot of people.
That's great.
Now
I
she
don't
doesn't
think
see
I
as
do.
many-
I don't even
She
know
doesn't
that.
see as many patients in a day now.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
I don't even mean to, but they would bring
Yeah.
it up.
I mean, I think so. Out of the two stores that you have, how many salespeople? How many service people? I mean, how many people do you
yeah,
employ?
we've got between 20 and 22 at both stores. So
So like 40,
40,
44
yep.
people. I mean, that's
Yep.
massive.
Yep.
That's a lot. And these are
Yeah.
one of the things I like to touch on when we talk to people that own businesses in town, small businesses. The amount of people that you employ. We had Swiderski's, Lindsay and Matt Swiderski on here the other day. It was over 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just in
Collectively
Manistee.
between the two.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
Is that between
Swiderski's
excavating
and TJ's,
and
yeah.
TJ's.
Yeah.
50.
That's awesome.
That's
You know,
insane. That's
But
a
even
lot.
like what? That's 44 families that
Yeah. Yeah, so two small
directly
businesses in
affected.
town now have almost 100 families that you're
Yeah.
positively impacting. That's pretty awesome.
That's really, I mean, at the end of the day, that's why we do it. Obviously,
Yeah.
Yeah.
them and the customers. I mean, that's what I get the satisfaction out of.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big things we've talked about. Like, ultimate goal is to build a new store for Manistee because it's run down and
Always
but
wanted a new
Yeah, I
store.
mean that's been a goal for
But
a
you guys
lot
have done
of years.
a lot of remodeling there.
No, in Manistee.
I feel like it, no?
No, not really. And I'm not going to do anything just because, again, the goal is hopefully to be able to build something at some point and have a newer, nicer facility for our employees and our customers. So that's the goal.
So I got
That's
a
the
question
goal.
before we wrap it up. I want to this one. So I've been waiting till the end to ask this one. I'm probably gonna put this in the front of it. So like, all right. So car sales. Okay, you've been doing this your whole life. Basically, you've been in the car business your whole life. You've seen changes, especially with the internet. You know, a few years ago, like you could, I don't know if it was cars.com or whatever, where you could basically go online and I could pick a car at invoice from this store that's participating, and you guys do all the paperwork and have it ready and just walk in and get it done, unless you were going to try to, get me on an extended warranty or something in the back office. COVID hits. People are sitting at home. A lot of this stuff is probably happening away from the store. There's been some talk about just like kiosk stores, where everybody's like, the salesperson's not even there. You're doing everything online, and then the dealership becomes more of a pickup place,
or
maybe
service facility,
and that's it. Because besides you, I have friends at the Chevy store, friends at the Ford store, and I'm always wondering, like, man, especially when they're younger, like some of our friends that are younger in the car business, like, how long can you make this a career? Do you think it's going to be a long-term thing? Do you think it's going to change to a point where it's kind of going to be kiosk?
It's a really good question. I think we're still figuring that out, just like with the EV thing. I mean, it's going that direction. We're not even close to being there yet.
Gas is king.
I mean, we're not even close to that
Don't
yet.
make it political, James.
And that's the problem. Well, it really is a
here,
it's an issue, because they're pushing it and the infrastructure is not there yet.
Right.
It may be there someday, and that's great. And to us, it doesn't matter. Like, if a customer wants to buy gas, electric, hydrogen, whatever, solar powered, like, it doesn't matter. That's what we're here to deliver, whatever. But I do, so if somebody is coming through town and they bought their car somewhere else and they didn't get a proper delivery, I mean, you've run into this.
That's the biggest thing.
They stop in and ask questions, and hey, I don't know how to work this, or
my radio, I can't get the time set.
I can't get the time set. My own wife calls me all the time and says,
he says the cars are smarter than me now.
I'm going 118 miles per hour. What's going on? You got it in kilometers per hour. You have
I was panicking because I was just going down the expressway and there's a cop, and I looked down and I was like, slammed on my brakes. I'm like, I'm going way too slow right now.
Yeah.
It just kind of, but the cars are getting trickier.
There is so much technology on them, and it's only getting more and more every day. I mean, autonomous vehicles and semi-autonomous, and I don't know if it'll look exactly like it does now in the future. I think it's just going to evolve.
I think salespeople are going to be in a role. I think it's going to be more of a consulting role.
I would agree with that 100%. And frankly, I mean, when I started selling cars, we didn't have internet, I mean, people came in with their newspaper and had the car circled, and we had to look at different books to find out what their trade was worth, and we could get close, but it was a stab in the dark. The best thing that ever happened was the internet. If the consumer's educated, they come in, they know about what their trade-in's worth, they know about what they're going to pay for a car. I mean, that makes our life so much easier because we don't have to fight the car dealer stigma, where really at the end of the day, I mean, the margins on a car are very minimal. I mean, that. And so it's great if they come in educated, and we can just be in that role of consultant, of helping them with technology issues, service. Again, remains to be seen with EVs what's going to happen. It's going to be more brakes and tires, but the batteries are, I mean,
so expensive.
You have to replace a whole battery, and that's the thing right now that we're grappling with, is they want us to make huge investments in EV chargers, in forklifts for every store, in specific bays for the EV vehicles. So, I mean, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars per store. Which,
you mean chargers just for your inventory?
Yeah, for inventory and for customers.
Okay.
Aren't you required to have a charger if you're selling EVs?
We already have chargers. We've had chargers since 2018, 16 maybe.
How much do they get used?
They have a lot of dust on them.
Yeah. I'll walk around here. I mean, seriously, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
They get used
one
a little
in
bit.
maybe 5,000 cars in Michigan is an EV.
We're doing more and more of them. I told Kristin we sold 3 4xe Wranglers last week. I mean,
those are sick looking.
They're great. So they get used for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they sat dormant for a really long time.
Yeah.
And the Pacifica was the first hybrid we got, and we got this big cabinet with a battery lifting table. It's like an electronic lift, and the guys use it to lift gas tanks and transmissions. And one time we used it when we were making breakfast for the team.
Yeah.
Like that was the table we used.
Yeah.
So it got used for everything other than EV batteries.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's going to evolve just like everything. But I do think there will be a role for people. We might just have to transition them to different things down the line, but nothing stays the same except change,
100%.
So
And it's hard. It's super hard for me. I can't stand change.
nobody likes change, but
Yeah.
it's happening. It's going to happen.
Yep.
Right now we're going through a change, aren't we, honey?
Are we?
At the house.
Oh, yeah.
Did we talk about the well?
I don't know. Do we want to talk about the well on the
We have to
podcast?
get a new well.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We're
Yeah.
living without water right now. It's like the
Day
olden
7,
times. Yeah.
going into day
Yeah,
8 with no
yeah.
water.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But we're okay. We're
Washing
thriving.
up. We're happy to
We're
be.
thriving. We're gonna
I
be
thought I
we're gonna be
smelled something.
stronger on the other side. It's gonna be great.
Oh my
We have
gosh.
really great people helping us. Yeah.
We were really used to the sound our well made when it kicked
Our
on.
pump.
Our
It's
pump.
our pump,
Our
yeah.
pump. And then Betsy's like, I think we need to call somebody. Anyways.
Yeah.
It's going to give you a new appreciation, though.
You know what? It already has.
does.
Yeah.
7 days in, already has. Yeah.
Like-
Even just, I was talking to my mom, and I was like, man, like, man, it's hauling water, and like, I did dishes today, and I had to boil the water, and like, like the time, even like to go to the bathroom, like I gotta go
Yeah.
get a bucket of water, and I gotta like, at the time, and my mom was like, like 100 years ago, like
Not
a
even.
lot of people didn't have electricity.
Mhm.
Like 100 years ago, they didn't have running. Like it wasn't that long ago. This is just how we lived, and now
That
it
was a
feels
long
like,
time ago. 100 years is a long time.
in the grand scheme of things,
Right.
it's
Really
not. Like it's not that
not.
many generations away, right? It's
Right.
not.
No.
We're pretty
Really?
spoiled.
Yeah,
we're
we
pretty
just we don't
spoiled.
know how good
Spoiled.
we have it.
Yeah,
sure.
and so
Like
yeah,
when we moved, we had charter internet
Yeah.
at our old house,
Oh,
which was kind of in the middle of nowhere, and we moved right on 31. Can't get charter.
Can you get tired?
And
Really?
So, yeah.
No.
So no internet, and we have very bad cell service too. So no internet,
Like-
bad cell service, and yeah, you don't realize like
Yeah.
how much you actually do use the.
You're reading a really good book right now. What's it called?
this is ironic that I'm reading this right now, but
It actually
Comfort
started
Crisis.
at the right time. Comfort Crisis.
Comfort Crisis. It is a really good book, but yeah, just kind of how we've just become
Yep.
so comfortable. We don't
Yep.
have to like go hunt for our food and go get it. We just have like a buffet endlessly available to us, and
Yep.
we, I don't have to haul water. You just everything's just like right there. We don't have to. Everything's at the same temperature, right? We don't have our bodies don't have to adjust to cold temperatures and adjust to hot temperatures, and
Yeah.
we've
We have to create new problems for ourselves.
Yeah.
That's what I sometimes feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I
these
don't
days.
know
I'm
that
like,
we wanna
oh my
get
gosh, we're
started on that
so
conversation.
comfortable right now that
It's
it's
true.
Well,
like,
the genesis of the book is like creating
yeah.
a
Yeah.
hardship for yourself. Do a
Yeah.
hard thing every year because it makes everything
Become-
else much
Yeah.
easier.
become comfortable being uncomfortable.
and you're a
Yeah.
hunter. There's a
Yep.
part in the book where
Yeah, there's a whole
where like
hunting
he's
thing.
shooting
Yeah.
he shoots a caribou in Alaska.
That's kind of the theme throughout. Is that he
Long
yeah.
hikes out
Yep.
to where he's going. And he does he did rim to rim, these long marathons and stuff like that. But he had to carry the head of the
Yep.
caribou, which is like 100 pounds.
Yep.
Well, and there's a bunch of meat.
But you
and
know,
everything, but
'cause
yeah,
you've taken hunts like that
Yeah.
where
yeah, and he,
I got into elk hunting years ago, and so that's
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking. Like 7 days,
Yeah.
no shower.
Yeah.
We've done bivvy hunting the last couple of years, where you're
Yeah.
in just like a mummy bag, basically a thing that goes over your head, and
That's
yeah.
so
And then
rad.
if you're lucky
Yeah.
enough to get an elk,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
like you said, it's 4.
Carry it out.
took us 4 trips the last one we got with 2 guys
Yeah.
to get
Just the pack out.
to get the meat back to camp,
Wow.
and it's
Because it was like last year, you came in here to get some wine, and you were like, "Oh, I haven't talked to Cody in a couple days."
It's an ongoing joke though, because like he didn't get anything again. I don't even know if he went hunting, but
It's called hunting
not
for a
easy.
reason.
It's not easy. It's the
10%
whole point. Yeah.
success rate. I have
Yeah,
in mind
no.
with elk hunting.
Yeah, and I've heard that a
But-
million times about the
Yeah.
elk hunt. It's
Yeah.
super hard.
It is,
Yeah.
but it's very rewarding, and
Yeah.
obviously we eat the meat, and
Yeah.
it's phenomenal meat, lean.
Yeah.
So the whole thing, it shifts your mindset though on everything too.
So
Yeah.
I'm glad you get to be able to do that.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to take
More
time
than
off to
anything,
do
it's
that.
a hiking trip, and I
Yeah.
go with my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a good time to get away, and
I don't want to go, so it's fine.
no.
Time away is good too, a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah. We miss you.
Well,
Nobody makes me coffee in the morning.
see, so
Nobody
we
takes
share
the
that.
garbage out.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
What
appreciate
else?
each other more when you're
Yeah.
Those are the only two things she's going to list off, just so you know. I make
No.
coffee and I take the garbage out.
You do so much more. Anyway,
Okay, moving on.
Yeah. You guys are sweet. I think that's a good spot to end it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you guys are awesome.
Yeah,
This is
that's
great.
fine.
I'm looking
Thanks
forward
for
to talking
having
about sleep too.
Yeah. I
I'll
want
be
to hear
back.
about that.
If you want,
We should come on separately.
If you want me to come and talk, like chime in on the sleep thing,
Yeah.
yeah,
just let me know.
because he does a lot of research
Huberman
about sleep, and then he
Lab
Dude,
podcast.
Yeah, 100%. I listen to that every day.
Yeah, he does.
We can have a great conversation together too about hunting and like Huberman stuff.
Yeah.
And,
Okay, I'm good with that.
Yeah, we can have a
That's-
good time. I do want to talk about sleep. I am like so the older I get, the more dialed in I want to be with my health, and sometimes it's like I get a little bit of information and it could be annoying to Betsy, but you know, I want to. These are great conversations to have. I want to
Yeah.
live better longer.
Yeah.
You know, I went through this
Health
whole
is like a
thing
big
with like
thing right
rheumatoid
now.
arthritis, and
oh,
it's
Yeah.
gone.
nice.
You know, just made some changes.
What
Yeah.
changes did you make that helped that?
Number one is I quit my job.
No, I would not say that. I would not say that
Just
did
kidding.
anything to help.
You know, there was
Total
a
opposite.
time when I was working for a beer and wine wholesaler, and you know, I was telling Betsy, like, gradually I could not, like, my hands would hurt, my feet would hurt. Those were the two things. And like I thought I had gout, to be honest with you, and I never experienced that before. And there were mornings where I get out of bed and I put my feet on the ground, and it was like
Yeah.
rattlesnakes biting me. So anyways, I went through some tests, and there was rheumatoid arthritis, and every doctor wanted to give me drugs, right? And the drugs were like, well, we're going to give you this one, but then you got to come back in 3 months and get your liver tested. And I'm like, no. I've never been like one to take,
Yep.
you know, pharmaceuticals,
Pills,
aspirin or whatever. Excuse me. So Betsy's kind of flirted with, you know, being plant-based for a long time.
Hold
I
on, though.
think.
Let's talk about the timeline, because you were working for the wholesaler that started, and you didn't want to take the pills, so we were kind of doing different
Yeah.
things. You were kind of doing yoga. You were trying to do like anti-inflammatory diet. You were trying
Yep.
different
Yep.
things.
Yep.
And then we ended up buying the store, and that first summer was like just so stressful, and you were down here all the time, and so by that fall it was like the worst it had ever been.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah. And so that's when we really,
We just like took a deep dive, and I said we just cut everything. So I went straight vegan,
Yeah.
basically.
we saw something that was like there was some documentary that we watched that was talking about inflammatory whatever,
I mean,
but
at
we
the
were,
end
it
of
was
the day,
one
when
of
you
those
do
like
an elimination
we could
diet,
try.
these
you know?
things are going to help.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
And like a month later, you
And
were
I think
fine.
We pretty much, I pretty much nailed it down to like red meat. You know,
Red
that,
meat was
that
what-
red meat.
Yep. That was what was doing it.
That was what was doing it, because like I've been reintroduced to eggs. I've had chicken. You know.
We don't
I
eat dairy, really.
We don't eat dairy really, but I mean, like with there is no, like I don't have any flare-ups at all. I haven't
That's awesome.
had a burger or a steak, so I don't know if that's really what it is. But I mean, you know, gone.
But it was pretty
Yeah.
quick.
It was so quick that like when I went back to the doctor, they were like, "Oh, there must have been a bad reading." But I had like 4 or 5 different tests that all had
Yeah.
rheumatoid arthritis, and so I'm like,
The body's an amazing thing.
It is.
Yeah.
The body's an amazing thing, and I think that that everybody's different, and I think there are solutions out there
Oh, yeah.
that if people are willing to
Yep.
like look for them, because when we met, if you had told me that he would cut meat out of his diet, I'd be like, there's no way, not this guy. And it was just one of those like, I'll try anything, and it was like a month later that
Yeah,
you
it
were
was
like
quick.
radically different.
Did you
Yeah.
cut coffee out?
No,
Okay.
no.
Cody's like signing up for this diet now. He's like, I got this.
I don't know that I could give up meat either.
You
like,
could. He can't give up.
We
coffee,
eat
though.
super healthy. I eat very clean, but meat is one thing. Like,
Yeah, no, and don't get us wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not anti-meat at all. Trust me. I want a steak every single day. It's like I used
Really?
to be I used to be a smoker. So when I see somebody smoking, I'm always like, God, that looks amazing. But I know that I can't do that.
right? Right.
But
I'm just always curious, like, what people found that, because you hear, like, gluten obviously is a huge
Yeah.
one, dairy.
gluten's fake.
And the thing that really helped
That
too.
one, I'll die on the sword on that.
What do you
That's
mean?
fake. Unless you're celiac disease, I think it's a mental deficiency when somebody
I think
comes
you just feel better when
Gluten-free?
you eat
when you
less
eat
of those foods.
Yeah.
when you eat
It's
less
better
of like
energy.
the processed gluten,
The processed
you're gonna
stuff.
feel
Right,
better.
but you're saying gluten in general.
But if somebody walks in and they're like, "Oh, I need a gluten-free beer,"
I've just talked to so many people that have been
Yeah.
like,
It's
whatever the thing was,
Yeah.
they cut out gluten and that.
And is it the
cured me.
pesticides that are on gluten? Because
it goes so deep.
I hope people aren't
We need
listening
more
anymore.
wine.
Yeah.
Because wheat is one of the, because they harvest it when it's dead, it's very, they do
Yeah.
a lot of Roundup on it. And so I've read a lot of things of, okay,
Yep.
is it really the gluten that's bothering you, or is it the
Never.
Roundup that's on
Yeah.
it?
Mm-hmm.
And like a big thing, when we quit
American.
eating, quit like, when he started, we quit like meat, dairy, eggs.
Yeah, we did it
And
all. We went
I'm
straight
lactose
vegan.
intolerant
Yeah.
anyway, but like I kind of was eating, and like you don't realize you felt as bad as you did until you
Right.
like cut out, and you're like, wow, I feel a lot better. But it was like a while of like, okay, we're trying to like make things that we used to make, but without, and it took a while until we found our groove of like, okay, we don't need mac and cheese, but like, although we do have a great mac and cheese recipe.
So good.
Like, and it's gradual. And then you know what it is? And don't tell the kids, but it's
Chickpeas.
carrots, potatoes,
Yeah.
onion. Like, it's totally made out of vegetables, and they love it. And cashews.
For the noodles?
No, for the cheese.
Oh,
And cashews, and they love it. And
Wow.
it's like vegetables, but it took us a while to get like into a new groove of
Yeah.
like, so that we're not just eating processed. 'Cause
Yep.
I don't agree with like, every now and again we get vegan hot dogs, but I don't like the fake meat stuff.
Yeah,
And the
right. I
we do
agree, yeah.
do a lot of just vegetable based
Yeah.
meal. But so it takes a while to figure out what works for.
And my brother
And
and
it's kind of
sister-
difficult. That's the sad
is.
part. It's not easy.
It's not easy.
That's why it's like, why can't
well,
we?
'cause it's everywhere.
Yeah, but I mean,
Well, like
But I mean, just food in general, and figuring
Right.
out what,
Right.
and doing that while you're working, and
Yeah.
have kids that have,
yeah, because we have to make meals. We can't go out to eat really.
yeah,
whole
if we
lot.
don't, yeah, we don't,
Like, we used to love to go out to eat, and honestly, I think COVID ruined it for us. Just like
yeah,
between the service and
Yeah.
having to
it was
mask
just a
and all the
process,
stuff.
and
I don't
everything
know.
got
Yeah.
very expensive.
Yeah, it's more expensive, and I'd rather
Yeah.
eat at home.
Yeah.
and I mean, for us, not eating meat, not eating dairy, we're very limited locally in where we can go, and sometimes if we do go somewhere and you order something and you're like, oh, but without the cheese and whatever, and you're like, oh, like we can make something awesome. Like James makes a great pizza, or just whatever. It's like, oh, that'd be so good if we could make this at home, and then you spend, yeah. Anyway,
It is funny to think about. So my brother and sister-in-law had a foreign exchange student from Germany.
Yeah.
And she was vegan. And when she came over here, they were like, "Oh, we're going to do whatever we can to make sure that and it was all that processed food." And she gained like 30 pounds in 7-8 months, and it was quick and it was noticeable.
well, potato chips can be vegan. I mean,
Yeah.
it
But she went
doesn't
back
mean-
home, and then she like sent videos and pictures like a few months later, and it just it's
Dropped
totally
it.
different.
We,
what I mean?
we went to Vienna on
Yeah.
a trip, and the food was
Probably
amazing.
awesome. Yeah.
That's all we
And
did
it-
was eat.
Yeah, but
But
it wasn't expensive.
No.
It was less
No.
expensive than here, and it was so much better quality. Like,
yeah,
it's just better
It's
energy.
laughable.
Yeah.
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 yeah,
Like, they ban shit there that we allow on the shelves here. It's crazy.
they do.
We're gonna go deep.
It's crazy.
We're gonna go deep.
We're never gonna stop.
Now, so you listen to Huberman. Do you
Yes, I do.
Do you fast in the morning then, or you
I
eat
do.
right away?
I haven't. For the last. For the last 2 weeks, I've been going in basically 12, I don't know, maybe 18 hours before I start.
Yep.
And I'm thinking about doing a water fast soon for like 48 hours with the water.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to gradually, at some point, I want to try a dry fast. But that might be a little more difficult.
Would you just drink some water?
You know, but like the dry fast is
Water
supposed to be
fast,
like way better for you. But like Huberman is really I love his podcast because you can pick something. You can go down the list and be like, I really want to learn about this.
Right.
And for 2 hours, he just takes it
Yeah.
apart.
That's the one thing I find, like with him. It seems like that's the other problem with health and anything in that space is it's so conflicting. Like you got these people that are saying carnivore diet is the best thing ever, and then you got the people that are saying vegan diet is.
I think everybody's
and then
different.
It's keto,
Yeah,
and it's
you gotta
like
find what works for you.
Yeah, so Huberman's good with that, and then I just listened to Outlive by Peter Attia.
Oh yeah, yeah, he's great too.
Legit.
Yeah.
It's a very good.
Betsy read the book.
You know,
I tried to read the book.
You know what
It
we
was a
watched?
stick
That was
for me,
it was on. Yeah, I didn't read the whole book, but
I do listen to him.
How we first heard of him was on Disney Plus. We watched what was the thing with Helmsworth?
Yeah.
Chris Helmsworth.
Yeah, Hercules.
No,
not
yeah, but what was the show?
Hercules.
Outlive or something? Outlive? What was that?
It wasn't called
No, that's
Outlive.
the name of the book.
Lifespan or
No, what was it?
He did it
I'm
with,
blanking out.
Is it a movie or a
No, it was a
documentary?
docuseries.
You'd love
Okay. Huh.
yeah, it was great. It was all about lifespan,
And he was in it?
Chris
Maybe that was the name.
Hemsworth.
Yeah, and it was
They
focused
used
on
Chris
him.
Hemsworth as like the patient.
Okay.
Yes.
So they went through everything. They went through cold immersion was one episode. Sauna
Stress.
was one episode, which is stress.
Yep.
And they went through fasting,
Okay.
which was an
Yep,
episode.
that was a whole episode.
There was a
Strength.
fear.
Strength, because remember we had to climb up the
Stress.
rope.
Yeah,
It was really cool.
strength.
The whole family liked it. Like
And it's on
it,
Netflix?
It was on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
Plus.
Turned out
We
that
don't
he went through a battery of tests too for it. Turned out he had like was it an Alzheimer's
Yeah,
deal?
yeah. So he ended up stepping away from acting or back, I think, because he found out, and that was a whole episode. But I think that was like part of this whole thing was
like
like,
the end
okay,
cap.
how can I live the longest,
Right.
the best,
Healthiest,
right?
yeah.
But then that was, and they went through this whole. They went through a whole like how to keep your brain strong.
Yep.
It was really cool. It was cool, and Peter
Attia's
Attia was a
awesome.
big part of that.
Yeah.
He was on it,
That was a
and
good
he
book.
did the whole fasting thing. But yeah,
I'm just always curious with that.
Yeah.
I'm not big in, like, I like to eat.
Yeah.
And I'm not worried about losing weight, obviously. I'm worried about going the other way. I want to put on weight. But I've
I
been
can put
weight-
10 pounds on a good weekend, dude. So I gotta
I
gotta
can't,
like
but-
dial it in, you know.
hard gainer.
Yeah, I am a quick gainer.
But I've been waiting to eat until like 10 o'clock. And I feel better when I do
Yeah,
that.
I feel like I'm clear.
Less of
Do
a
you do
crash.
it?
You know, get more energy.
Yeah, I don't.
Do you?
Otherwise, like 1, 2 o'clock, I'm like,
yeah.
why am I
Yeah.
so tired?
But we don't eat after, I'd say like 7 o'clock. We
Yeah.
usually eat 6:37, and then I don't have anything else until.
That's when we usually eat,
Yeah,
and
10
I try not
o'clock
to
or
eat
so.
till like 1, 2 o'clock. Lately, and
Problem
it's
is if I
low
have
carb.
coffee, you get shaky if you have coffee and you
I
haven't
don't
eaten
though.
anything.
So like for me though, I don't know if it's because it's a tolerance or whatever, but like when I was in the Air Force, I mean, I literally drank coffee from the moment I woke up until 6, 7 o'clock at night. I don't know how you don't do that at the dealership. You know Bob Yates.
That's my nemesis.
Yeah. So like Bobby and
Not
I
Bobby
were
Yates
like,
coffee, sorry.
yeah. But you know, it'd be like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and we would have a competition
Yeah.
to see who could make it the strongest
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know. I'm sure cutting out caffeine would be
Moderation.
or
You
trying
can
to
have it.
moderate
Yes.
down.
Not a lot.
You know,
I've tried. It's like the one
You
thing
have too much caffeine. It's,
I don't think I
know.
can
You
eliminate.
can't moderate very well.
But that space though is something that I'm like super interested in, like and on my list of people I want to talk to, or, you know, in your field and so forth. Because, yeah, like I said, a little bit of information for me goes a long ways. But Betsy loves. How many vitamins are you taking during COVID?
Oh my
I mean,
gosh,
it was
he
like
took so
I made
many
sure I
vitamins.
had my zinc, my vitamin D.
He had this whole like regimen because he was the only one working.
Right.
It was like you
Gotta stay
can't.
healthy.
Yeah, you got to stay healthy. You cannot
I
get
felt
anything.
like a nurse or a
So-
doctor because there were so many people coming in here.
Honestly, I will say sleep is
Yeah.
the biggest thing.
It is. It's
Yeah.
so
Far and
important.
away. Like the last time I was sick was when I had COVID, and I didn't even feel sick when I had it. Like, and I
did great with
really
that,
think
yeah.
it's from sleep, because I'm like,
It's a great
Never had
sleeper.
it. Never tested positive for COVID.
you probably
I'm sure
had it.
You've had it.
No.
We're not talking COVID. Stop it.
You start talking about COVID and I have to cough.
I can't.
Yeah.
Let's get ready to go out and have something to eat.
All right.